chickens tread. Coffee warms as the morning begins, with laughter rolling on the wind.
Today it's all hands on deck. We're going to be harvesting, cooking and canning all in one day. It's now coming up to peak tomato season, and this is the time of year we really have to get down to canning and gathering everything up. We're no longer waiting and seeing how many we're going to get, and the best way we can do that is by picking all of the tomatoes when they're blushing. We decided to do this because two reasons. One, because when they've started blushing on the plant, they actually don't develop any more flavour or sugars than if you pick them then than if you pick them when they were fully ripe. So there's no real benefit of leaving them on the plant. And two, it really does reduce the pressure of pests, etc. in my allotment. I don't want to come along and find big beautiful tomatoes with bites out of them from either rats or squirrels or whatever it will be around the allotment. It also allows my plants to have so much more energy to ripen more tomatoes and not just one or two.
Little feet in the fields again, running wild through the rows of green. Joy so simple, pure and true. This is the life we're growing into. Wood smoke curling in the air, sunset painting colors everywhere.
Potatoes are the first thing on our list because they take the longest to harvest. We have this whole bed of potatoes that have completely gone, and really all of it needs to be getting out. And these potatoes are our second early potatoes, medium storing potatoes, and they are absolutely delicious and much bigger than our first early potatoes. These potatoes also need to be dried and cured, which I've done a whole video about, and I'll put the link in that below. It's like doing 90% of the work. Yeah, really. So we're digging up our second early potatoes, and Andrew was so much better than last time. And getting them into the routine of going down the allotment really helps. And this time that we harvested the potatoes was so much better than last time. Last time, Andrew mostly ate the potatoes raw, and it was gross, and lots of them were wasted or really had to be used super early because there was like little marks out of them. And I think that if I say the word potato to anyone indoors, they're a little bit like, oh, not again, Nick. But this time he just took the potatoes out of the holes and put them into the buckets for us, which was super helpful. He also fell down a couple of the holes that we were digging, but he was having a while of time to rescue a worm from him at one point. Grim. And but apart from that, he was really brilliant.
Sunset painting colors everywhere. Tiny hands with soil stained skin. Big sisters helping, proud of the life we're in. Little feet in the fields again, running wild through the rows of green. Joy so simple, pure and true. This is the life we're
halfway through he was more of a hindrance than a helper, so I thought it was a great opportunity for him to help harvest the raspberries. And raspberry season is one of Andrew's favourite seasons. As you know, he loves a berry. You saw him with his strawberries and now you see him with his raspberries. He loves raspberries, so whenever we're picking the raspberry he likes to be around and just absolute munch, and I think he ate more than half the raspberries I actually harvested. And they're really great, they're sour and just delicious, and they're so good for him that I really don't see the problem with letting him binge on things that are in season. We only really eat raspberries when they're in season, so we tend to like binge on them and have them in loads of different things, and then they're gone for the rest of the season. Raspberry season is absolutely mental. We get an absolute boom of raspberries all in one go. Raspberries you really need to pick every single day to make sure that you're not getting them squishy. Best time to pick raspberries is in the morning because they're nice and plump and they stay fresher for longer. Half the fun of being down the allotment is that the kids get to enjoy it and have, you know, a really good time eating and playing, etc. As long as they're in the garden, I think that's half the struggle. So one of the jobs I couldn't really show you down the allotment is one of my friends has gone on holiday, and she said if I watered all of her plots, because she's got 2 like I do, then I could help myself to cucumbers, which was super exciting because I don't know if you remembered, but our cucumbers were not successful this year. I had a real issue with getting them to germinate, and the ones that did germinate died from a mysterious illness at the beginning of the year. So I only have a couple of cucumber plants, which is absolutely epic for fresh eating. But one of the things that Jasmine loves the most is pickles. So I was so thankful when my friend said that I could have as many cucumbers as I wanted. As you probably know, if you don't pick cucumber plants, then they'll ripen on the vine and then you'll get no cucumbers because you're basically telling the cucumber plant, hey, I'm completely finished now. You don't need to make any more. You've had your babies and that's that for you for the year. So I was super excited to do a super crispy, low heat pickle, which I've never tried before. We really like pickles that are very similar to the ones that I bought in the shop, and the ones in the shop are, did you see that? We really like the pickles that are similar to the ones that you get from the shop, and they're really delicious and sweet and great. But I haven't really hit on a good pickle recipe yet, but this pickle, I'm telling you, it was so good, it was crunchy, it was just perfect. I actually ended up buying myself a new canner. With Andrew, it's really hard to kind of set something and then walk away from it, so I need Bob to come home so that I can can, which makes it a little bit difficult to can in the daytime. These automatic canners, you can actually kind of walk away from it, so if he cries, I can leave the kitchen, see how he is, and know that it's absolutely perfectly safe. Just plugging it into the wall, filling up with water, which yes, did take quite a long time, and I boiled a few kettles so that it was a little bit quicker, and then you could just set the timer on it, set the temperature on it, and fill it up. Absolutely brilliant when you have little ones at home. Also, you get a little tap at the bottom that you can like drag it over to the sink and let all the water out, which I was quite excited about because, to be honest, I'm not that strong to lift it up and pour it over to the sink, especially when you've got little ones by your feet and you're carrying hot things. It's just a recipe for disaster. So I decided to treat myself to this little canner. It's not little, it's massive. I will be putting all the recipes in the descriptions below.
There's nothing in there for you. There's there's nothing in there. It's just a mystery.
I went ahead and made the brine, and this brine spice I actually got from one of my very good friends. Her mum made it for us, so it's a nice chunky spice, and I'm telling you right now, it is the most delicious and wonderful brine that you can even think of once all of the ingredients were kind of like mixed up together. So with this canner, you can actually set a timer and set a temperature with it. So I set it to 85 degrees, which is what we're kind of looking for, anything between 80 and 85 degrees for our pickles for half an hour. So I went ahead and set that. And whilst that's going, there was something I could not resist doing. One of my plot neighbours gave me this huge, delicious marrow, which she didn't want, and that is absolutely perfect. My family absolutely hate marrow and hate squash. I've kind of like done everything in my power to try to make them love squash, and they just won't have it. But there's this one recipe where they absolutely adore it and they'll eat it out of house and home, and that is in these brownies. They're super easy to make, and the secret is you don't drain the liquid that comes off the squash. The more liquid you have, the more gooey the brownies. But even if you don't have any liquid, they're beautiful. They're not stringy or gross or anything, and you honestly can't tell that there's squash in them at all. And I've used them with patty pans, and I've used them with marrows, literally you name it. So I went ahead and made a whole double batch of this, and half of it I'm going to go ahead and stick it in the freezer, and to be honest, the other half they've already eaten.
Early light on the garden bed. Dew still clings where the chickens tread. Coffee warms as the morning begins, with laughter rolling on the wind. Little feet in the fields again, running wild through the rows of green. Joy so simple, pure and true. This is the life we're growing into. Wood smoke curling in the air, sunset painting colors everywhere. Tiny hands with soil stained skin, big sisters helping, proud of the life.
Time to sort our vegetables. Now, there are certain tomatoes that need a little time to ripen up, and that's fine. Any ones like this, I'm just going to leave on the side until they ripen, and as they ripen, I'll either roast them or I'll go ahead and stick them in the freezer or whatever, probably eat them for fresh eating because there's not that many left of them. Everything else I'm going to be popping into the oven, and I like to get this done very, very quickly so that they're starting to roast and cool down so I can skin them in a little while. And all of the recipes I've used today will be down below. So the tomatoes are a little bit different. We haven't actually canned whole tomatoes before, but we're going to can them because Bob absolutely loves whole roasted tomatoes on his breakfast. I personally can't actually stand cooked tomatoes like that unless they're in a sauce, but I thought let's give it a go. but my roasted tomatoes turned out super well. I don't necessarily use plum tomatoes. I just use heirloom tomatoes for absolutely everything. They've got an absolutely gorgeous flavour, and that's what I'm going for. And as you can see, it's really nice and banded. And even the yellow tomatoes didn't stand that well against the heat of being canned. They've kind of disintegrated a bit, but they're going to be absolutely lovely on a breakfast. Have you ever tried low heat water bath canning? If so, let me know down below how it went, or would you like to try it? Angie's on the slide. I wonder what that noise was. The pressure of pests, etc. in my allotment. I don't want to come along, and not just one or two. Bailey, get down.